Today, kiddies, we're going to talk about the dreaded N-word, notches. Thanks to Apple's iPhone X, and despite all the hot air and controversy surrounding the things, we've seen a barrel load of notch-packing smartphones launched in 2018, and let's face it, we're going to see a lot more of them in 2019 too. So if you don't like the damn dirty things, you should probably make your peace, hombre. Chances are they'll stick around for a while. But to be perfectly honest, some of the best smartphones of 2018 have come packing a notch up there at the top of the screen. And here's my roundup of the favourite notch smartphones from budget blows all the way up to premium handsets. Now, where else could I start this list than with the big bugger that started it all, the iPhone X. Much civilized discussion was had on the rather high price tag when the iPhone X first launched, but the fruitiest of debate was of course centered around the very first smartphone notch. Android fans obviously had a good old chuckle at Apple's expense, not realizing at the time that about a dozen notch-rocking Android phones were about to be blasted at their faces. And many Apple fans were also up in arms over the design. They literally could not have been more angry if their own mother had just been rogered by a rabid badger. Well, as it turned out, the notch didn't give us cancer or anything like that, and everyone soon forgot why they were so angry in the first place and just went off to shout at women on Twitter instead. Now, it's no secret that one of my favourite phones of 2018 so far is the Huawei P20 Pro. After the rather lacklustre P10 from last year, Huawei has hit back strong with its tri-camera delight. The colourful design is absolutely dazzling, while the hardware and software combine to produce a highly satisfying mobile experience, whether you're a movie lover or a gamer or whatever. And yep, you get a full screen experience in a form that's not too tricky to handle thanks to that little notch up top. I also love the slightly less ridiculously expensive Huawei P20, which still offers very strong camera chops despite dropping a lens. The Pinky model is super cute, and yep, that notch is once again back in action. Another one of the best blows of 2018 is the OnePlus 6, which fully justifies that notch design. This beast sports a screen that's almost 6.3 inches in size, so no notch would make it absolutely massive, and about as easy to handle as that rabid mum-bothering badger. Of course, that massive display makes the OnePlus 6 a media monster, while a super-powered Snapdragon 845 chipset, backed by a rather nutty 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, means that performance cannot be beat. You also get some seriously impressive optics slapped on there. This handset can stand toe-to-toe with most other flagships for photo capture, where you can also shoot great looking 4K footage at 60 frames per second. Considering all that and the fact that it costs less than 500 quid here in the UK makes the OnePlus 6 one of the best smartphones of 2018, not just one of the best notch phones. Now, LG hasn't exactly had a great run when it comes to smartphone tech in the past couple of years or so, although I really like the LG V30 from last year, right up to the point where they didn't actually bother launching the bloody thing in the UK. But the new G7 flagship was basically a souped up version of that V30 handset anyway, complete with a tasty bit of notch action of course. That HDR display is simply stunning, and with the eye-searing super brightness mode active, you can watch even the murkiest of Marvel teleshows in bright daylight. Audiophiles will also love the awesome Quad DAC, which belts out some incredible sound and music and works wonders for movies and the like. Factor in the feature-packed camera, strong specs and dependable battery life, and the LG G7 is one of the more interesting smartphones of 2018. And of course, yes, there is a strong bit of notch action. If your budget isn't quite meaty enough for a premium handset, then maybe have a gander at the Honor 10 instead. This flagship Honor phone also offers a full-size screen, complete with a bit of notch up top, but this one is half the cost of the LG G7. Alright, so the camera tech isn't quite as infallible across pretty much any conditions, but you sure do get plenty of features packed in there again, and the Honor 10 is perfectly decent for grabbing cute snaps of your fuzzy face kitty. Performance and battery life get a thumbs up, and that psychedelic disco design is endlessly entertaining when you've had a skinful. Another budget option for anyone who wants a bit of notch in their lives is Asus's latest, the Zenfone 5 and the 5Z. These handsets really look the biz despite their cheap asking price, while the specs are solid enough too. Asus has crammed in loads of bonus features, some of which are pretty tasty, including some impressive customization over the visuals and audio, and a nifty bit of facial recognition too. Just don't leave it on the arm of your sofa or, yeah, too late. Now, a handful of other notch-rocking smartphones have also been launched in 2018, including the Vivo X21, the Oppo F7, and of course the Essential phone. Unfortunately, these phones either haven't launched in the UK, or I haven't actually got around to reviewing them yet, so I can't personally speak for their general adequacy and whether they deserve a place in this list of notchy greatness. Stay tuned, however, for plenty more coverage of the latest and greatest smartphones, notch or no notch, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be the first to hear all about it. Love you, bye!